If you're like me, you've watched all the videos and tutorials on how to do the muscle up on YouTube and you still couldn't do it. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how I finally was able to do the muscle up. Okay, if you've watched all the videos that you found online, you will see that people say, these are some of the common things that people say. You need strength requirements, right? You need to be able to do a certain number of dips, deep ring dips, and also a certain number of pull-ups, let's say 12 or 15 strict ring pull-ups or something like that. And they tell you that if you have those basic strength requirements, all you have to do is learn how to do the transition from the bottom over the rings. You just have to learn that skill. Well, I was able to do that many number of ring dips, strict, slow, deep ring dips. I was able to do 12 to 15 slow and strict ring pull-ups, and I wasn't able to do the muscle up. So there are two main problems that I discovered with myself, the reasons why I wasn't able to do the muscle up. The first one is the strength requirement. Okay, let's address this one. Yes, it is true. You have to be able to do a certain number of ring dips just so that you're comfortable doing the ring dips once you get over the ring. But the pulling portion is really tricky and misleading, actually, because just because you're able to do 10 to 12 pull-ups, it doesn't mean that you can do even a single pull-up that's required to get to the muscle up. Because if you're like me, we learn in the gym how to build our back muscles doing pull-ups and lat pull-downs, right? And we're always taught that in order for you to engage your lats, we start in this position. We always want to squeeze our scapula, right? Squeeze our back. Imagine that there's a golf ball or fingers here that you squeeze with your scapula, and then after that you pull straight down with your elbows, right? Everybody always says your hands are just basically hooks, right? You don't want to engage your biceps. You want to pull with your elbows backwards, right? This is how you do the pull-up or the lat pull-down in order to build your back and get that massive V-taper cobra back, right? Everybody wants to do that. This is how we learn how to do the pull-up. Well, the muscle up is so different. It's totally different. So from the side, the regular pull-up is like this, right? And then watch the elbow trajectory. We squeeze our scapula, right? And you pull, get your chin over the bar, right? This is how we do the pull-up to build muscle. Straight back, right? The problem with this is in order for you to do the muscle up, you have to do what they call the high pull-up, because your hands basically have to be at your chest level, have to be below your nipple line. Well, if you have the strength to do this kind of pull-up, from here, in order for you to get your hands below your chest, you have to rely on your rotator, which is not good, right? Because you're going to get hurt. And it's really, honestly, it's not enough to just learn how to do the transition. Throw your head to the front so that from here you get to the dip position for the muscle up. It just wasn't happening, because when you do this, your head is so far back and most of your body weight is below your hands. You can't just throw your head over the ring like that. At least I wasn't able to, right? The ring muscle up requires the high pull-up, which is something like this. The elbow trajectory, okay, instead of the regular pull-ups to the side, the elbow trajectory is to the front, like this. You see? This kind of pull-up naturally puts your hands below your nipple line at the end of the position, at the end of the move, right? So you pull yourself this way instead of that way, because you can't go any further back than this. There's a limitation to how far back your elbows can go, right? But with this pull-up, you can get your hands below your chest line. Now, here's the problem. Just because you're strong in this pull-up, it has nothing to do with this pull-up. At least not to me. I found out the hard way because I was able to do this pull-up. Once I started doing this pull-up, man, I wasn't even able to do one. I was only able to do, you know, like one decent one. Um, and then after that, I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. Okay, so that's number one. The first problem that I had. The second one is, of course, the false grip. If you look up tutorials online on how to do the false grip, they make it seem so easy. Everybody always says the number one problem with the muscle up is the transition. Again, I didn't find this to be true at all. The false grip was so hard for me to get. It took me maybe like about half a year to get from not being able to do it and then started training the muscle up consistently multiple times a week until the first time I was able to do a clean one. It took maybe about half a year, give or take. But this is the common stuff that you'll see online, right? People will tell you how to grab the rings first, which is they usually tell you to grab the rings somewhere up here, right? And then you rotate the rings down, and then this is where you find the correct position for your hands. Actually, I find this instruction to be a little bit ambiguous. Yes, kind of like that is how you want to grab the ring, but it's like where do you stop? Like from here, where do you stop? Do you just stop here? Do you stop here? It's really not clear. People never talk about that. So I found the important thing that you need to understand is when you are doing the false grip, right? You grab the ring this way first of all. This is super basic stuff. When you're doing a regular pull up, your grip is like this. When you want to do the false grip, the ring is like this. Okay, this is the difference. Regular pull up, false grip, like this. So the ring goes from the web between your index finger and your thumb, and it goes into this crease, basically where your wrist meets your hand. Okay, so it does something like this. You grab it this way. Now, where should the hand position be? So when you're hanging with the false grip, your hand wants to be in the position whereby so that when you're hanging, your forearm is vertical to the ground. You see, this grip that I have right now on this hand is not correct because my forearm is kind of in an angle. So when I'm hanging and all of my weight is pulling down on this, I'm gonna lose my grip because the forearm needs to be vertical. So in order for the forearm to be vertical, you put the bottom of your hand at the bottom of the ring, right? So that it is vertical. And then you grab the ring this way. See, when you do it this way, you'll realize that your hand is going to be kind of in that zone between 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock range in the ring, right? When we're looking at it this way, between 7 and 8 or 9, something like this. Your hand is not going to be down here unless you have insane wrist flexibility, let's say, right? Somehow you can put your hand here and then your wrist can actually be vertical, but mine couldn't. So that's why, regardless of the flexibility of your wrist, the number one constant factor is your forearm needs to be vertical. So if you're like me, your wrist is not super flexible, you have to grab it here. But if you're really flexible, maybe your hand can be lower here and your forearm can still be vertical. So whatever works for you. Okay. The most important thing is your hand needs to be vertical from the bottom of the ring because that's how you can hang with the false grip. Okay. So that's hand position. The second thing about the false grip is the strength and the flexibility requirement to do the false grip. Now, I almost gave up because I thought I was never going to do the muscle up. If you look at my left wrist, I have a nasty injury from years ago, which limits the mobility range of my left wrist. So I'm not able to flex this one to 90 degrees. I can't close the angle to 90 degrees as much as I can with my right hand. You see the difference? No matter how hard I try, it's just not working. So I thought, you know what, uh, it's never going to happen for me, but it did. Uh, so yes, wrist mobility, range, flexibility, it is important. You'll see that when you learn the false grip, the most difficult thing to do is to keep your index finger closed. It's easy to keep these other three fingers closed and flex your forearm, but to really pull this one in and grab the ring, this is the most difficult one to do this. So you just have to practice over time. Just do, wrist flexions and extensions, stretches on the floor. Just try to increase mobility range of your wrist. There's no easy way to do this. You just have to put in the time, day after day after day, stretch your wrist this way. And you have to do active stretching. Don't just put pressure on your wrist on the ground. You have to be able to actively get to the position from here to here, just as much as you can, right? This is a nice workout to do as well. So you just kind of put your hand up like this, squeeze your fingers, and flex, right? You'll feel the pull for the most part where your index finger is. Okay, so that's mobility. The strength of the grip and the tolerance that you have. This is also another thing that you need to develop over time. So you're gonna have to build tolerance with having pressure on this part of your hand. In the beginning, you're gonna bleed. It's gonna rip. It's gonna tear. Happens to everybody. Happens to me as well. Just like everything else, when you learn in the beginning, it's gonna rip. So don't go too hard every session. Just do a little bit. Do a few sets of drills that I'm gonna talk about later, and just call it a day, because you have to build it over time, slowly over time. That's the name of the game. You don't go hard one day, because if you rip your skin really badly, then you're off from training for maybe a week or two, right? So you want to be able to do it consistently, bit by bit, every day, and build up that way. Okay. So that's in terms of skin tolerance. Now, how to practice developing strength for the false grip. People will tell you to do false grip hangs, false grip supported hangs, right? So if you can't do a false grip hang, you do the false grip and then support it with one leg, or support it with two legs, and then eventually move to one leg, and then eventually you can do false grip inverted rows, for example, right? Then once you can do this, you can do you can just hold the top position of the false grip, right? And then you support yourself with one leg, and then you switch around, right? I did all of those things, and it didn't help. Okay, my false grip wasn't getting stronger over time at all, at all. So there's one exercise that I found to be super helpful in developing both tolerance, pressure, false grip, strength, and wrist flexibility. It's the same exercise that you see if you've watched any of my other videos. I do this all the time, which is the false grip pull-up with the tennis balls. If you can't do the pull-up yet, you can start with just doing dead hangs. Just hang from the rings with the false grip, holding the tennis balls. This is really helpful. So basically, you just grab tennis balls in your hands, right? And then you can put the ring at the crease of your wrist and your hand, basically, like this, right? Just grab the tennis ball as hard as you can and just hang. Just hang, right? You just hang this way, hang. And over time, well, in the beginning, I was only able to hang for like 3 seconds. 3 seconds, can you imagine? And then over time, I made it to 5, then I made it to 10. Eventually, I was able to do 20 seconds and 30 seconds. But the way I would do it is in one set, I would target a total hang time of 20 seconds. So if I was only able to do 3 seconds, that's okay. I do 3 seconds, I rest for about maybe 10, 15 seconds, then I go again, then I go again, and then rest and go again until I complete a total hang time of 20 seconds in one set. So that's how I did it. Once you're able to develop enough hang time, let's say 20 seconds, with this false grip, then you can start to do the false grip pull-up. Again, in the beginning, I was able to only do one, honestly, just one rep. Even though I was able to do 12 or 15 the regular pull-ups, I was able to do only one. But again, I set a target. In one set, I was trying to do, in the beginning, I was only trying to do 5 repetitions. So I would do one, rest, one, rest, one, rest, one, rest, one, rest. Eventually, I was able to do 2, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 2, 1, and then 3, 1, 1. Once I got to that point, I increased the target rep to 6 or 7. So then I could do 3, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, 2, right? And then maybe at some point I was able to do 4, 1, 1 or 4, 2, 1, right? That's how I built the strength over time to be able to do this. This is the single most beneficial exercise for me in order to get the false grip. The false grip was so hard for me. I don't know what people are talking about online saying that, oh, the false grip is, you do it after 2 weeks, you'll be able to get it. And you just learn the transition. Like, what the fuck? It was so hard. It took me months and months and months to learn how to do the false grip. If it takes you even longer than me, it's fine. You just keep working on it because it's different for everybody. Some people say they learn how to do the false grip and the muscle up in like a month or in 2 months. Well, it took me like half a year and it was really hard. But I'm finally able to do it. I was really excited to be able to finally do it. And I'm able to grab the rings consistently with the false grip, and I'm able to kind of hang with the false grip with relative ease, right? And you can kind of play around with it once you have enough strength to do it. So the transition portion of it is going to come once you have enough strength with the pull-up and the false grip. It's like the easiest one because once you have enough strength to get yourself over the rings, then it's so easy. You just pull yourself to the front. It's hard to describe it, but basically just get the strength of the pull-ups and the false grip down, like really solid foundation. You will see. You pull yourself up and then your body almost automatically just kind of does that to the front. The transition is not that hard, but getting yourself over the rings, for me at least, was really hard. Okay, so that's it. I hope you find this video helpful because I've watched all the videos online and I've watched the same videos so many times again and again to try to see, am I doing it wrong? Am I learning it wrong? I couldn't do it. And then finally I found like one video that talks about the tennis ball false grip exercise. And then I did that and it worked. Okay. Just go back to all of the videos that I've been uploading. You will see, like the first video I uploaded, I think I have the false grip pull up with the tennis balls, and you'll see I was only doing like 2, 2, 1, 1. I was able to only do maybe like 3 reps in a row, and then I had to take a break. But over time, if you look at my more recent videos, I was able to do the tennis ball false grip pull-ups for maybe like 6 in a row, like 6 and 2, sometimes maybe even 8 in a row. So you can see my progress throughout my videos. It takes time, but that's how I learned it. Don't get discouraged. I have a nasty injury. My wrist flexibility is not that good. I had to develop it over time as much as I could. And if I can do it, you can do it too. Okay? So try it out. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, just leave some comments. And we'll see you in the next video.